hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Oracle Fusion Data Intelligence Product Roadmap for January. As you know, we host these webinars on a quarterly basis. I'm going to stay on the safe harbor statement for a few seconds. And moving on to the product strategy team announcement. So as you know, this webinar is hosted by the product strategy team, led by Ben Arnold, our Senior Director of Product Strategy. Also, my colleagues Jamie Anderson, Mauricio Alvarado, Daniel Mohan, Alex Tusman, and Maddie Wilson. You probably have seen us active on the community website. So we are hosting this series of webinars as well. If you're interested to know more about the Oracle Analytics Cloud roadmap as well, Maddie is hosting that tomorrow. So we are joined by the product management team for the Fusion Data Intelligence. Stefan Schmitz, Group Vice President of the Product Management, is with us here today. Ash Bajpai, Naren Chawla, Nupur Joshi, Guy Michaeli, Amit Goyal, and Dave Granholm. So thank you to the Oracle team who have joined us today as well. We have a packed agenda, so I will provide some updates on the community. Stefan will provide some high-level overview of the FDI vision and the strategy. Naren will walk us through CX Analytics. Ash will take us through ERP and SCM Analytics. Nupur will walk us through the HCM Analytics roadmap. Amit will talk about the administration and security roadmap items. Dave will go through the user experience, and Guy will walk us through the AI and ML features coming up. So exciting agenda today. So as you see, the agenda is packed. So if you have any questions, please feel free to put that in the Q&A box throughout the session, and we will address those questions as we move forward. So just some quick updates on the community. As you see, our team is working hard on the community website in collaboration with different teams. We are now having a very comprehensive events page, and just some highlights on the events. We are hosting the Data Intelligence Summits in Mumbai and London in the next few weeks. So if you're interested, feel free to check that out on the community website. But I also want to quickly touch base on the Oracle Analytics Data Visualization Challenge that is being started next week. Maddie from our team is actually leading this initiative. And if you're interested to participate in this challenge or share that with your team members and your colleagues, if they are interested to join, please let them know. And also, I'm going to put all these links in the chat so you can review the details. And with that, I'll pass it over to Stefan.
Stefan, I think something is wrong with your mic or something.
Yes, Stefan. Can you hear me now? Sorry about that.
Yep.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so what I was just about to say is that I also wanted to extend a warm welcome to everyone to this quarterly roadmap webinar for Fusion Data Intelligence. This is our usual eye chart here, so I'm not going to go into any detail. My colleagues on the team are going to take you through some of that detail here. But as usual, as you can see here, we have a ton of new features and capabilities, enhancements in development, and a lot more on the roadmap for the foreseeable future. We're definitely, very busy kind of executing on our expanded vision and the scope that we announced, a bit over a year ago as we started to evolve Fusion Analytic Warehouse into the Fusion Data Intelligence offering. So obviously a key part, a core part of our value proposition remains the Oracle managed data pipelines and all of the pre-built content, the subject areas, KPIs, dashboards, and reports. So we're continuing on that journey to build out more and more functional area coverage, going deeper and broader in some areas, but also expanding to areas that we hadn't covered so far. So again, Manisha, Naren, And Ash will talk about some of these areas of investment. Sorry, I shouldn't say Manisha, but Nupur is standing in for Manisha today. And you'll also hear a bit about the progress that we're making towards these tailored new app experiences that we're building for business users that are really designed to bridge this gap between purely providing business users with just the ability to consume insight, through reports and dashboards, which has been, the traditional way of providing business intelligence and analytics to the business, towards app experiences where the user is able to put the insight into the right business context, able to evaluate different decision scenarios, and then through the power of AI and machine learning is provided with recommendations and suggestions of how to choose and select the most impactful decision and then execute corresponding actions that actually drive business outcomes. So we call these the intelligent apps, and we're making pretty good progress on the first couple that we announced a little bit over a year ago. You'll also hear about the progress we're making on the platform side in terms of administration and extensibility features. Those are getting more powerful, more robust, more reliable. Also, we are obviously focused on enhancing the overall user experience. Dave and Amit both are going to talk about that part of the roadmap. And then finally, last but not least, we are definitely doubling down on our investment into AI and machine learning driven features and capabilities. So Guy will share with us what's happening in those areas of innovation, in particular, around co-pilots that we are developing, the ability to enable business users to truly, kind of have a dialogue, speak with your data, and so forth. So with that, let me hand it over to the next presenter.
Thank you so much, Stefan. Naren, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon to everybody. I'll cover the CX Analytics. With CX Analytics, we are reached an area that we have a huge surface area now. So broadly speaking, our system covers marketing, Eloqua, sales, Fusion sales, service, Fusion service, CPQ, and subscription as well. See, the overall messaging for our product is what we call revenue intelligence. We allow you to unify front office, mid office, and back office together. And then we are very focused on helping our customers improve their top line revenue. Going one level deep from a roadmap perspective, we have coverage for all the systems that I mentioned earlier. We have more coverage for subscription and marketing in 24R4. Now, what is exciting is what is upcoming imminently and what's coming in future as well. So when it comes to sales, we realized that a lot of our customers actually use Salesforce as well. So we treat Salesforce as an Oracle system from a FDI perspective. So we've built native connectivity and native content for Salesforce as well. So if our customers, a lot of them actually who use, for example, Fusion ERP and Salesforce, they are prime target for us to also sell them our product FDI CX, because we treat Salesforce again as a native Oracle source. So we have a lot of inbuilt connectivity and inbuilt content for Salesforce. That's already up, it's upcoming. It says that, but we already have delivered this in November of last year. And then since we are doing revenue, we're doing revenue intelligence. One of the intelligent apps that Stefan talked about is around prediction or forecasting. So we are collecting data from different sources, from CRM, quotes, marketing, and ERP, and we're able to improve the accuracy of how we do revenue forecasting. So that's an exciting area that we are getting into. From a CPQ perspective, a lot of our customers struggle from having sort of good analytics for CPQ. So that is already part of the product as well, and we're kind of building on top of it. And we are super excited to actually build a lot of content for incentive comp. So this is where we have very large customers, and Oracle has a big footprint as well. So that's an exciting new big area that we are delivering in future as well. We're adding more from marketing perspective. So these are small things that we are rounding out the product. From future perspective, I'll quickly go through it. We have covered opportunities, so to speak, or as SFA part of Salesforce, but we're going to expand more into CPQ marketing service as well. We have a lot of customers asking for it. We have kind of building customer 360s. We are also getting additional interaction subject areas from Fusion Sales. For CPQ, we'll go further down. And then the pricing analytics and segmentation. So within CPQ, we do have pricing kind of information over there, but we're going to double down on it and provide a lot of AI and ML into it. And we kind of build an intelligent app around pricing optimization. We have several design partners working with us, and that's a huge area from an impact perspective for our customers. We'll keep on building further on incentive comp, and then we're also looking into adding Oracle Field Service. We already cover Fusion Service, but we'll also add Oracle Field Service in future. We will build more closed loop reporting into Eloqua, more content around quote analysis and being able to combine mid office, so to speak, with back office with CPQ plus subscription plus order management, supply chain, and then few applications around customer churn prediction. And then few sources like Unity, for example, we will add as in future as well. So that's probably the roadmap that we have, and I can hand it over to the next presenter.
Thanks, Naren. All right, so for ERP Analytics, I just wanted to mention that we had a major release, 24R4, that came out, and it shipped out sometime in December. We had some really key features which were part of this release. I'll call out a couple of them, but you may want to check out the other Customer Connect session, which we have done for R4 feature overview. We have delivered a new security paradigm for employee expense subject areas. So essentially, a lot of big companies would like to use manager-based hierarchy to secure the expense analytics. And that's really required for widespread adoption. That was a really important ask from some of our large customers. So that's something we delivered in R4. As many of you know, configurable account analysis helps solve use cases going from summary level details in GL to transactional level details from various subledgers. It's a very widely recognized feature by our financial analytics customers. They love it, and we continue to make investment and drive feature work. So that's something that we did in R4, and you will see that it's going to be a work stream going forward as well. Now, switching gears to upcoming, which is more reflective of active projects, which will start to land itself in R2 release, and some of this will likely be in R3. Under financials, I would start with maybe the second bullet point. There has been a lot of asks from our customers where you would like to reduce the data latency for all the finance data that's coming to FDI, and you would also like to see broader coverage. So given that motivation, we've gone back and did a redesign for what we call frequent data refresh, which really allows you to do intraday refresh of the data, especially focus on finance, close use cases, plus supply chain have other use cases as well. The goal of this redesign is to provide better performance and wider coverage. This is likely to land in 25R2 with some areas within ERP and supply chain showing up in R2 itself, and then more to follow in R3 and R4. In terms of expansion of financial analytics, we've been working on a few really important areas. A lot of companies operate with expense leases, and these expense leases will essentially capture the details around lease contracts, lease assets, payments, rights, obligations. All of that is what is going to be part of lease accounting analytics that's in works. In addition to that, many companies use cash management. So cash managers and executives will be able to analyze the bank statement balances, bank statement transactions. We will be pulling in that data within FTI to provide support those use cases. And then last but not the least, a revenue management cloud service plays a really important role for revenue managers and analysts in combination with other financials data from GL, AP, and AR. If you want to start looking at contracts, performance obligations, figure out the promise details around billing, satisfaction, initial performance, events, and the accounting details, all of that is going to be part of the revenue management analytics that's being worked on. So that's on the financial side. On procurement, as you recall, purchase orders, receipts, agreements is all available as part of our procurement analytics offering. Where what we're working on is we've started to deliver feature, even if you look at R4, which provides more process insights on these transactional entities. So you can look at purchase orders, see how many approval steps were part of the purchase orders. Are these steps valued for you? Do you need to make any policy and procedure changes? So that's the kind of insights we are starting to provide on the key transactional entities and key business processes. In addition to that, I know sourcing plays a really important role for many of our procurement cloud customers. So we plan to expand the coverage to include sourcing analytics, which will help you get insights into RFPs, RFQs, any type of sourcing events that you're running. And last but not the least, on projects, it plays a really important role for many of our customers because your revenue operating model is based on projects. And when we talk about project billing, the events that you have, billing events and milestones, plays a really important role in terms of understanding your contractual obligations and what your revenue profile is looking. So we have expanded the coverage to include billing events. This is actually a limited availability feature that's part of R4. So if you have interest, we should be able to enable it for you, and you can test it. Our goal will be to get this into a preview mode in the upcoming releases. So that's on ERP Analytics. If we move to the next slide, on supply chain, just like ERP, R4 was a pretty significant release for us. And I would say the biggest expansion that we've done on supply chain analytics is in the maintenance space. So a lot of our customers use manufacturing and maintenance cloud capabilities. And we've started to pull in all the manufacturing cloud data now within FTI. We already had support for manufacturing work orders. Now we also have maintenance work orders. So you'll be able to look at operations, resources, material usage based on your maintenance work orders, whether it's for a factory setting or it's for the field. I already mentioned the process insights that we are working on procurement. On logistics, we have two connectors which are now in preview, one for WMS, and before WMS, we had put OTM, Oracle Transportation Management, in preview as well. In terms of the upcoming bucket, the most significant feature work that we're doing is actually on planning. So as you know, you would agree that supply chain planning plays a really important role from an integrated business insights for executives as well as planners and for supply chain teams in general. Our goal with planning analytics is you will be able to do plan to plan comparison, plan versus actual comparisons, figure out any gaps that you have in your supply and demand plans, and really take corrective action. We do leverage a lot of measures and dimensions you are already defined in supply chain as part of supply chain planning. This is a configurable experience, so it will actually leverage all the measures and dimensions you have defined along with the plan data and land that within FDI to support those use cases. In addition to that, sustainability is one area where we actually did deliver our first LA feature in 24R3. So if any one of you are interested in sustainability, we can enable this feature for you. Our goal will be to get into preview in the upcoming releases along with certain enhancements which are highlighted here. So that's in a nutshell what's coming up on supply chain analytics. With that, I can turn it over to the next presenter.
Thank you so much, Ash. And Nupur, over to you.
Thanks, Fari, and thanks, Ash. Hello, everybody. I'm thrilled with the success of the last release in HCM that we had, which introduced a bunch of rich and impactful features. And even looking ahead, the future looks equally exciting as there are several key features already in development as we speak. So just to refresh, in the 24R4 releases under the people leader workbench, we have salary spend and pay equity topic pages introduced. In the talent under the talent umbrella, we have started our grow journey, and the first subject area under that is gigs, is delivered and it is available under preview. There are a bunch of enhancements on skill center. A learning subject area is a GA subject area now, so that is one change, one feature from preview to GA movement. In the HR umbrella, in the core HR subject area, which is our most widely used feature, and we have received raving reviews about that from all our customers. There are a bunch of new KPIs introduced on gender count to promotion, new attributes on the bunch of manager hierarchy dimensions, and other new assignment event KPIs have been introduced. Under recruiting, we have added two new KPIs, and there are some key enhancements and features delivered from HCM security standpoint, wherein on the payroll analytics, now we are enabling our customers to extend payroll analytics to the line managers as well. And I can definitely assure you that we have taken care of that. We don't unknowingly, anybody don't expose any sensitive information to any of their managers. So it is a completely configurable security feature that we have introduced, so that you can configure that only a couple of earning components or whatever specific elements, components you want your managers to track or be aware of from the payroll standpoint, you can do that. In talent acquisition subject area, we have extended the existing data role support. So HCM view all data role security and other contextual data security now have been extended to talent acquisition. Moving to the the upcoming features, and most of which are like in development as we speak. So under the people leader workbench, there are two very important features that we are working on. One is the guided tips. This could be something like, you can think of it like it's a best practice guideline, like maybe, for example, maintain grade for all the requisition or the salary ranges for the requisition in order to make effective utilization of your investment and also make accurate decisions. Or it could be an impact tip also, that if you're taking a certain decision under your, say, suspending the requisition, but that can also lead to your existing workforce doing some excess work and might spike some of your overtime or some other cost like that. Or it could be a coaching or industry best practice guidance as well on something like drive change management or manage effectiveness. So that is about the guided tips feature that we are working on. And the drivers of KPI feature that we are working under people leader workbench, where we are starting the journey with payroll and salary spend, and soon it will work towards supporting the attrition KPI also to identify the drivers of attrition. But what that essentially will do is that it will list down all the drivers and that too based on weightage, meaning like which specific driver impacts at what is the weightage of the same. And then eventually in future we will work towards enhancing the drivers feature to establish correlation amongst various factors, various drivers of a KPI. Moving ahead, there's another key feature that is the peer benchmark. So with that, in that peer benchmarking, that feature also as we speak is in works. So your peers in an organization, so organizations would be able to define that whom they want to classify as by peers, and what are the benchmarks they want to offer, which KPI and which different attributes would they want to support for. And then to start the journey with, initially the managers would be able to benchmark themselves vis-a-vis the peers that they are tagged with and see how they are doing. And that is like, you can see if I'm doing good or bad vis-a-vis my peer, and that gives you some avenues to improve upon yourself, increase the productivity of your team. And eventually, when every team performs to the best of their capability, that will impact the organization productivity and profitability as well. In the talent pool, in the talent umbrella, the learning management V2 subject area with bunch of enhancements would be available. From the AI/ML feature standpoint, there are multiple things, couple of key features that are being worked upon in the upcoming releases, that is performance review sentiments and employee flight risk prediction, pay equity bias detection. That would be that's in works, that would be in upcoming releases. Another key feature that will be available is the benefits, full-fledged benefits subject area. So since benefits is a huge uh, capability, we are starting the journey with benefits relationship, uh, life events, enrollments, enrollment costs, dependent enrollments, beneficiaries, so and so forth. But couple of them like benefit groups or enrollment eligibilities, billing payment or court orders, the other aspects of benefits module in Cloud HCM, that would be supported in the future releases. From the platform standpoint, there is a key HCM security feature that we are working towards, is that we will enable our customers to flip the out of the box data role behavior. From by default, the data role, HCM data roles grant the most restrictive data access. They'll be allowed to change it to less restrictive without going to the custom security route or creating additional data roles and flipping that behavior. So it would be probably a one single click for them. There are a bunch of learning management security enhancements also happening over there. And a key feature that I would like to highlight is the People 360 data model data that is being delivered with this release. And in soon future, we will enable our customer facing feature also based on that. So People 360 is like you can see the people, the patterns, and the possibilities of your employee or workers data. So that is about the upcoming release. And in future, I have kind of given a lot of preview about that already. But from People Leader, Workbench will be delivering the attrition intelligence, skill and staffing intelligence. Help desk subject area should become GA in future. Bunch of enhancements on reporting bands and configuration. Scheduling analytics would be a brand new offering under HCM. A People Leader Assistant would be a huge key AI/ML as a feature for all our people leaders and eventually to all the audience in your organization. Recruiting standpoint, TA, bunch of enhancements, candidate pool, interviews, prospects, so and so forth things. Inferred skills is another talent part. Inferred skills V2, I would say, would be another AI/ML feature under the talent umbrella. Under the Grow Analytics, Grow Journey, connections would be another subject area that would be available. For payroll, compensation, salary base, the workforce rewards umbrella, again, bunch of enhancements. Salary basis, bunch of enhancements. Payroll GL breakdown analyzer would be something that is in the future planned. Run result and element entries would be planned. And there was an enhancement on payroll cost adjustment that should get done. From platform standpoint, AOR configurable security would be something that we'll be working on the future releases. And FDR support for frequent data refresh support for salary base and talent acquisition subject areas. So HCM will start its journey with these two key functional areas, and a bunch of connectors on survey, labor market data, and EPM that would be delivered. And with this, I would like to hand over to the next presenter. Thank you.
Thank you, Nupur, for the wonderful review of the HCM FDI roadmap. And with that, I'll pass it to Amit.
Hello, sorry about that. All right. Great. So as far as region support is concerned, that's the infrastructure where you can deploy the product. OC1 is the commercial realm. This year, we intend to cover all the commercial regions for Fusion. We are already in most of them. So as you can see in the swim lane there, we just launched Cardiff in UK, Zurich, Montreal, Venhedo, Milan, Santiago is next, and then we'll round out with the rest of them, Mexico City, Riyadh, and Stockholm. As far as UK, as far as non-commercial realms, we are already in UK Gov. We are launching in European Union's Sovereign Cloud. That's actually coming up next month, Madrid and Frankfurt. US Gov, we are starting out with our testing and certification, and in the 2026, the first or second quarter, we should have the US Gov FedRAMP as well. We also have DRCC, which is the Dedicated Region Cloud. So we have a couple of those deployed in UAE for specific customers. On the provisioning front, all of the ADW databases have been migrated to eCPUs, which is a more efficient metric for compute. We also support multiple subscriptions in a single tenancy now, and we are working towards supporting deployment of FDI without a prereq for universal cloud credits. In the future, we do intend to support multiple languages, for instance, a disaster recovery SKU, and we'll talk about FDI operation reporting a little bit next. On the data platform side, as far as extensibility, so you can bring in multiple tables from data augmentation. So right now, if you set up a data augmentation, you have to do one table at a time, right? So the bulk data augmentation is about pointing to a source and then bringing in multiple tables together. Similarly, Fusion augmentations is about pointing to your Fusion source and creating a parallel pipeline for custom fields and custom tables that you want to bring in. Also, if your team uses dbt, which is the data build tool, it's an open source technology, you can integrate with your dbt repository, which will run your transforms within ADW. Coming up, as Ash mentioned, we are doing a redesign for frequent data refresh, and then we will turn on specific functional areas starting in 25R2, but then it will continue in R3 and R4. Data pipeline observability, that is about being able to see the status of your pipeline jobs and when do they start and end. Intelligent data lake integration. This is a product, essentially Oracle's data lake solution. Being able to publish data from FDI into that solution. Data share, again, being able to publish the FDI data into third-party clouds. And then, Pipeline Builder, which shows up in the future, that's the ability to create your own custom pipelines using a IDE type environment. On the semantic model extensibility, we do have a new, better optimized for performance model. And currently, there is a migration tool which automatically migrates your old semantic model extensions into the new one. And then let's see. All right, I think I will let Dave cover the operational reporting. Over to you, Dave.
Sure, thank you. Thank you, Amit. And I'll get to that in just one second. So you heard Amit talk about extensibility. From the experiential standpoint, we have a new Content Explorer, which is present in the catalog now. And this complements a sort of an external one that we have for marketing and sales purposes. But this is a nice new tool that will be right there in the catalog that you can use to see all of the content which is present in your application modules, as well as ones that you may not own. And what's nice about this too is that it includes custom objects like your custom subject areas or your metrics that are created within the semantic model extensions. There's some indication of lineage also within this Content Explorer back to the subject area being that sort of semantic model that we generate through the pipeline. So that's this will likely come to co-opt the marketing version of the Content Explorer. Now, on the experience in the upcoming, so that's present now in the product. In the upcoming work, we are launching in LA for a project called FDI Operational Reporting, and this spans Amit's ownership as well as many others. And what this is effectively is bringing the Fusion, the OTBI, or the transactional subject areas, into FDI. So we can now access those through the FDI user experience alongside any of the analytical subject areas which we know and are familiar with now. So this will be a kind of integration which will allow us to create content against both the transactional subject areas and the analytical ones on the glass. There's not a lot of data modeling that happens here, but it's quite compelling to be able to get to that. And incidentally, this is the first step towards bringing this capability back into Fusion. If you look on the right-hand side, this will be the first step down the pathway of bringing modern analytics, the kinds of tooling that you know with OAC as the analytical experience for Fusion apps. Now, we've talked about some of these intelligent workflows. And from an experiential side, it's worth noting that the interesting pieces of these, which comprise sort of a rules engine and alerting, as well as this what if engine and the solutioning experience, and then finally, the fulfillment of those decisions with closed loop workflows, that's all part of the experiential piece, the core features of intelligent apps. And this is a component that they'll all share and then will become much more extensible experience as well. And then naturally, we're working on the content experience across the various offerings that you've heard described already. People Data Workbench and HCM, Supply Chain Command Center, sort of purchase attainment scenarios within SCM and the sales revenue predictions that Naren mentioned. So that's all coming and well in the works. And then as we look ahead to the future, we're doing quite a bit of work thinking about the sort of day one experience for FDI users, business users largely, and analysts. What does that day one experience look like? And we're working on an enhanced landing page experience that will also be customized by pillar or persona or functional use cases. So that day one experience will be greatly improved. You know, where's my application? And from there, we're also thinking about where the user moves as they move through their analytical content. So what are the paths through that content as we navigate from aggregate information and down to detailed information? So really binding that all together is a very coherent and compelling application experience. And then I already mentioned that the FDI operational reporting, this ability to go against transactional and analytical subject areas, really represents that first step as we move ahead to bringing modern analytics into Fusion applications. So AI and ML are part of all of this, and I will hand it over to Guy so he can talk about this exciting work.
Hey guys, nice meeting you. My name is Guy. I'm a new PM on the team, joined from OCI, where I used to drive and lead the AI, the AI apps. So there are basically three areas of focus for us in the in the past and in the future. In the past, there was a lot of ML that we released, features that enable predictions and enable basically ML capabilities. And you can see all of them under the update. So all of these are available. I saw the question on the Q&A, and basically everything that you see here is documented. We'll be more than happy to provide help on that documentation and help you onboard these features. Moving forward more into the upcoming and to the future, again, there are three areas of focus. One of them is around ML platform. The second is around a Copilot, name pending. I'm quite aware that that name is already taken by another company. I'll explain what Copilot is. And lastly, there's an area around speak with your data or assistant. Let's start with the platform. We've been receiving requests from customers to either augment the ML features or build features very similar to some some of what the competition offers, and that's something that we are taking very seriously. It will actually help us ourselves when we want to release new ML features. If we had like a ML catalog, like model catalog where we can use and reuse and just like very quickly come up with new features and new capabilities and release them. So that's one. The second one is Copilot. And the idea behind Copilot is you as a user may find on some of the areas around FDI and making it available for new features, or just like using it slightly, like you want to make it streamlined. And that's what Copilot can help you with. We're targeting now, we're looking into the use cases, and I hope that by the next time we meet, I'll be able to share more information about that. And lastly is a feature we call Assistant. It's basically, I think, I saw a question earlier, and there was already a webinar on the capabilities that OEC is releasing for the Assistant. It's basically speak with your data. We are taking that capability and we're onboarding that into FDI. It does require quite a lot of work because of the complexities of the schema, and we need to teach the model behind it, which is an LLM, how the schema looks like, and provide additional metadata to the LLM beyond just the schema to make it robust enough to be able to answer questions in natural language. So these are the three areas, and they're coming. Some of them are already there, but they're coming in the near future. That's it from me.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Guy. Exciting features, capabilities are all coming up. I think we did really good on time. I just want to see if there are any remaining questions from our attendees here today. Also, I'm going to run the NPS poll or the happiness survey. So we want to make sure that we capture your feedback. I see another question is now posted. I'm going to read it out. When can we expect element entries and personal payment subject areas in FDI? It is very complex to build using augmentation.
Yeah, Fari, I can take that question. Personal payment method is not yet part of the roadmap, but thanks for the suggestion. We can definitely look for including that in the roadmap. Employee entry and run result, we are planning for that for this release, and we should be able to get back to you on the approximate release when can you have that feature supported out of the box. But it's already planned. This is already part of the roadmap for this financial year.
Okay, thank you, Nupur. We can wait another minute just to see if there are any questions. Also, I'm just going to mention during the Q&A, there were some questions that needed some follow-ups. Feel free to reach out to me. You have my email. This is my first and last name @oracle.com, farivar.javanbhakti@oracle.com. It's also included in the events page on the community website. So if you have any follow-up questions, feel free to reach out to me directly, and I'm happy to direct you to the right team members. So another question I see here from Prasad, should we encourage clients to use OTBI, or should the effort be focused on analytics? Anyone from
I can take a crack at that. I think customers should be focused on analytics because that's really where the most interesting work happens, at least from our experience. But OTBI is certainly a very valuable tool, and it provides access to the more real-time oriented transactional information. The nice thing about the FDI operation reporting is that it brings it together sort of experientially in one place. It's on the glass. And I don't know, Amit, if there's any sort of clarification you'd like to make on the back end, but we're not joining the data together, or we're not sort of bringing the transactional real-time information into the FDI subject areas. But it does provide that experience where when you look at the data pane and you see your existing FDI subject areas, alongside those, you'll see all of the OTBI subject areas. And when we're thinking about where we want to go with the real-time, the frequent data refresh, those provide solutions kind of between the two ends of the spectrum. But that's not the intention of the FDI operational reporting. Did you want to add on, Amit?
Yeah, so I think it's important to recognize that your out-of-the-box reports that you see in Fusion for OTBI, they continue to be there, right? So for any of your operational reports, out-of-the-box reports, you continue to use them in Fusion. Those do not get ported automatically to this FDI operational reporting, which is the OAC instance. As Dave mentioned, what it's really giving you is the ability to access your subject areas, the OTBI subject areas, from the OAC instance in FDI. So you could write your own DV reports on top. But to the question of, do you continue using OTBI? Answer is yes, because your out-of-the-box reports are still in Fusion.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a decision that every company needs to make by itself, depending on the use cases. OTBI, as it exists today, is going to be around for the foreseeable future. I mean, there's a lot of investment that happened over many, many, many years. Customers have invested into it. So, it's by all means, it can be used, should be used on an ongoing basis. And also, if you compare the functionality, I mean, the authoring capabilities, as some of you may know, it uses, answers and dashboards, which is sort of legacy Oracle Analytics business intelligence capabilities, but they're very powerful, right? So, I mean, there's, by all means, there's good reason to still use it, right? So it's, again, I think it's a decision that every company needs to make on its own.
Yeah, very much complementary solutions for quite a while.
Yeah.
Wonderful. I see there is another question that Amit is responding about extensibility capabilities. So I believe that is answered now. And I see one of our attendees who has raised hand. I'm just gonna, Matthew, I'm gonna allow you to talk. So hopefully that works. I just want to see if you can unmute yourself and ask your question live.
There you go.
And Matthew, I see you're on mute still. If you're not able to speak, feel free to put your question or comment in the Q&A. Okay, and also for some of the recommendations or feature requests, Jamie and myself put the link to the FDI Idea Lab. That is a single source for all your enhancement and feature requests. We will review that on a regular basis. And we also discuss that with the product management team. Feel free to encourage your colleagues, peers to upvote on your ideas if that will make a big impact for you. Okay, so
have we announced the roadmap webinar for Oracle Analytics, and that's happening tomorrow as well? That might be of interest for these attendees.
I haven't put the link in the chat. I mentioned that we're hosting, as Jamie mentioned, the Oracle Analytics Cloud and Server Roadmap webinar tomorrow. So if you can quickly find that and put in the chat, that would be great. You can
I will do that.
Yeah, you can always check out the events page on the community website as well for that. I don't see any other questions.
Fari, I did see Richard sneaked a question into the chat. Can you still combine data sets with FDI and OTBI subject areas like you can when you bring in OTBI as a data source in OAC? Yes, of course. That capability will not be removed. So that's always an option. Okay, back to you, Fari. Want to try to
I see
knock all
that.
those whack-a-moles.
I see
Oh,
that
Dominic.
Dominic has a question, if you can
Yeah.
unmute. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. All right, thanks so much, guys. Dominic Farrow, and I wanted to ask, like, how does the AI assistant or the Copilot in Oracle Fusion, like, leverage suggestive prompting based on like anomaly detection? Is it designed more so for guiding users towards opportunities or applying the data within what they already have? Or is it more like a ChatGPT style where it just allows you to query the databases directly?
It's more of the second option. It allows you to communicate with your data.
Is there any opportunities in the future to suggest where to go rather than just directly communicating with it?
When you say suggest where to go, what do you mean?
So when I think about like anomaly detection and like analytics, we're looking for like huge points of impact. So identifying these huge points and being able to, well, use the AI to identify these and allow you to directly go there. So almost like a spotting function for you to dive deeper into.
Yes. I don't know if it will be part of the assistant specifically. I mean, we are thinking about it. I just don't know if that's the best interface, like a chat interface. There are other efforts, even right now, happening on the team that do address basically scenarios where you identify an issue, you're being alerted about the issue, and then it's no longer just like before where it just alerted you about the issue. It actually tells you, hey, we have a plan for you, and here are some parameters you can play with, and these are the likely outcomes of the changes that you'll make. And I don't know, Dave, if you've done any of the presentations demo about that before, but that sounds very much like what you are driving right now with IApps.
I think the best place would be, we could reference some of the demos that we gave at CloudWorld that are a little bit aspirational, but do definitely display and demonstrate the intention there. We can provide that maybe, Fari, with an update. That's probably the best place to go. And then reaching out to teams directly to see what their respective applications are producing.
Would be very interesting for all of us on the PM team to learn more about the use case that you have in mind, and just reach out to me and I'll make contact with the rest of the team. I'll be very interested in that.
Yeah,
Okay,
I will
awesome.
note that, yeah, thanks, Dominic. I will note that with regard to the sort of the core features, the core decisioning and the solutioning that we're building into these workflows, where we're trying to come up with some compelling features out of the box, but we want to make sure that we hit the right grain on the extensibility so that these can be modified and used by any customers, but yet don't become so flexible that the core value of constructing this kind of workflow is lost. So as we're iterating on these, that's where we're really spending our time. We want it to be extensible, but not hyper flexible in a way, if that makes sense. So we can get some more information on those pieces out to the
Thank
group.
you.
Yeah, thank you.
I do want to just lastly just say one thing about the chat interface. The idea is that when you like in the future, probably not on the first or even second release, the assistant will not only answer what you asked for, but also identify issues that are happening around what you asked and provide you value beyond what you asked for. A good example for that, I'll use HRM is, hey, who are my top performers as a question to the assistant? And the answer is, your top 3 performers are ABC, and 2 of them are at risk of leaving.
Oh, that's awesome. So actionable recommendations based on the data.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes, and Dominic, I'll follow up with you. I'll send you the demos that Dave and Guy mentioned, and we can follow up on that. Thanks for bringing the question up. Okay, if there are no other questions, I believe we can wrap up the session. Thanks for everyone for joining us today, and thank you to the Oracle team for being with us. Have a great day, everyone.